The mainstream always sweeps for the mainstream. It's so ridiculous. I think there's nobody out there who's worse than Patrick Rothfuss about his books. Yes, I know George R.R. Martin's pretty bad about his books, but at the same time, Rothfuss has actually gone longer. And remember, this is just a 3-book series. He's done 2 of them. At least Martin, I guess, got to more. I mean, participation trophy for people who can't finish their series. Absolutely crazy. Now, Brandon Sanderson does a writing class, and he was talking about it and actually defended Patrick Rothfuss and said no one wants that book to get done more than him. Well, you're kind of in control of that, Patrick. You could literally just sit down and write every day. I've written 2 books in the last few months. I'm not as fast as Brandon Sanderson because I do the YouTube stuff and the like. But I do what I can, and I'm getting stuff done, and my audience is enjoying it. And that's why people are turning towards indie alternatives from these people more and more. Not only that, but of course, we don't have any of the woke elements in our books or anything like that. We have a lot of fun. We're building fantasy again in a way that it used to be. And I'll hope you'll join us here, talk about fantasy, everything with me. Hit the like and subscribe button on that front. And I'm an author, like I mentioned. This is my novel series for Steam and Country. Of course, The Adventures of Baron von Monocle's the series. And it's a 6-book series. It's awesome. It builds. The characters grow, progress. We have a lot of fun with this. This is real heroism. It's about an airship crew who goes out, adventures, quests against monsters, and then they end up embroiled in a crazy war that builds at the end of Book 2 into Book 3 in a way that is just totally epic. You're going to absolutely love this. It's available all on ebook, print, and audio for your convenience in the description below. I hope you'll check it out. And thank you guys for reading our books and supporting us here and supporting alternative fiction, people who get things done. It's a lot of fun. So I'll put this in the description below for you, and thank you again. Go grab the book today, grab the whole series, and enjoy a read. Thank you. So, outside of George R.R. Martin, no author gets mocked more than Patrick Rothfuss for not working on his epic fantasy book. However, Brandon Sanderson defended him in a new video, which was captured during one of his writing courses. Patrick Rothfuss, if you don't know who he is, became famous for his book, The Name of the Wind, which is mainstream fantasy critics in the establishment publishing hailed as the next Game of Thrones. They really wanted this guy to be like the big thing in epic fantasy. They didn't realize at the time that the series would mirror George R.R. Martin in a very big way. Rothfuss would completely freeze and become unable to complete the final book in his trilogy. Big scandal happened about this a couple years ago, which I will get into. Much like Martin, Rothfuss seems unwilling to do anything to complete The Kingkiller Chronicle series, with Book 2 coming out in 2011, 14 years ago. A myriad of excuses have been presented over the years, but none to the satisfaction of fans. So Reddit's actually been all over this. They're basically calling him a scammer. This is from 3 years ago. In December, readers donated $700,000 to Patrick Rothfuss's charity for him to read one chapter of Doors of Stone, which is the book that's supposed to be done, with the expectation of February at the latest. And this is 3 years ago. He made no update in 8 months. By the way, still not out. Just an update to this is one chapter, my friends. Right? He's not posted a blog. If you didn't know the background of this, he does this fundraiser through his charity. He has set a stretch goal to read the prologue of this book. The goal was demolished. He added a second stretch goal to read another chapter. The stretch goal was again demolished because people are that excited about this. I mean, it's sad that these people got into this deal. He's a woke SJW like the rest of them. And then he attempted to backtrack on his promise, demanding there would be there to be a third stretch goal, that it was essentially all or nothing, meaning if he didn't hit that third stretch goal, he wouldn't even bother reading the chapter. He got a bunch of backlash. The community manager spoke with him. He apologized and clarified that the chapter would be released regardless. He knew he got himself into a pickle because he knew he didn't write the chapter. He knows he doesn't get things done, and he knows it's not going to be very good because he knows he's got that imposter syndrome. That's a thing that happens with a lot of these people. He added the third stretch goal would then have a superstar team of voice actors narrate the chapter he was planning to release. Okay. The goal was also met, of course, and then it was about 1.25 million. People went all in on this. He then read the prologue after the fundraiser and then stated he would have the news chapter by February at the latest. He couldn't write one chapter of a book in 3 months, my friends. That was it. This is, again, 8 months after the fact. And so that happened, and then years went by, and he didn't finish that chapter. These people were donating for this. They wanted to get this. They were so excited for this book that he can't even, it's sad he won't even finish the book. Then on top of this, he just does not do things. So while he does own the charity, the money is not being held by them. It goes directly to Heifer International. Patrick, of course, pays himself nearly $100,000 for renting out a building he purchased as the charity's headquarters from any publicity sponsorship. So these charities, of course, have a bunch of money that they use for stuff. And he's made a few comments through other channels on this stuff. So that's where it's at. Eventually, fan backlash became so large. This is where we're at. And so this is October 2023, his charity chapter update. And, of course, that all just went by the wayside. This one he gave a bunch of excuses for not writing it, basically. And so he's just not working. Now, Brandon Sanderson chimed in on this, and of course he just sweeps for him immediately. And he does it as like, this is like a clout thing where it's like, oh, I'm friends with Patrick. He's great. So, and they always do this. He's Pat Rothfuss. You know, they always like shorten the name. Oh, he's my buddy Pat. You know, his friends call him Pat, even though he's Patrick on the cover, right? And so this is something where he's just like, you know, showing I've got the bona fides, which is weird because Brandon Sanderson's probably the biggest author in fantasy in the world. So why does he need to name drop like I know people, right? I don't understand. But this is the fame sort of thing, right? Everybody has to, you know, act like it's a big clout structure. That's the whole industry right there. And he says, I'm on record multiple times saying, I think this is the structure that Pat Rothfuss is going for when he's writing Name of the Wind trilogy. If we ever get a third one, which I think we will. And then here he goes, I know Pat. I have leather-bound books. Right? No one wants to get that book done more than him. I believe I've said that before. I believe it's a Greek tragedy. So, yes, he says he will get this book done, that he knows Pat. No one wants to get it. Well, obviously, he doesn't want to get it done very well because it's 14 years and he's not been writing it, right? Very, very simple stuff. So this is ridiculous. And, of course, the mainstream sweeping is just so eye-rolly. But it's what you expect. Brandon Sanderson's going to sweep for the guy in the mainstream. He's doing the same thing with his books. He just, you know, came out there and did a whole gay romance in his most recent thing, which got him under a lot of fire. If you haven't seen it, the Stormlight Archive was ruined. And it's because he, again, is pushing modernisms in the LGBTQ agenda in his new Wind and Truth epic fantasy novel. And he warned people that he was going to do this. This is what he posted to his blog. He said, my current stance is one of unequivocal support for the LGBTQ plus rights. I support gay marriage. I support trans rights, the rights of non-binary people, and I support the rights of trans people to affirm their own identity with love and support. I support anti-discrimination legislation and have voted consistently along these lines for the last 15 years. I'm marking the posting of this fact item at the encouragement of several of my LGBTQ plus fans with a sizable donation to the Utah Pride Center and another to the Out Foundation. Please clap, right? I put LGBTQ plus people in my books. I will continue to do so, not because I want to fulfill a quota, but because I genuinely believe it's the right for the characters and the important thing for me to be doing. It's totally to fulfill a quota, by the way. This is escalated over the course of his books. The new one features a full-on gay romance. It features a weird non-binary scene where they talk about things. They have a part where they call the character Kaladin racist. In a fantasy setting. Again, that's a word that wasn't even invented till like the 1900s. So these are things that are just anachronisms that are thrown into the book for virtue signal points for the current modern publishing. And that's why this book is just a disaster as far as the ending of the Stormlight Archive goes. These people have sold out everything, and they just sweep for each other constantly. They're just going to keep defending each other in the mainstream industry, even when they do something stupid. I mean, honestly, at this point, like, why are you bringing up Patrick Rothfuss as, like, a class example? Like, that guy has not been relevant in a long, long time. He's clearly scammed a bunch of readers. He's clearly not even working on the book whatsoever. He's turned himself basically into a Twitch streamer at this point, just shilling for the woke narrative as well. And it's just this big circle jerk of just like congratulating each other for not doing anything important. And that's what fantasy's become. And that's exactly where the mainstream publishing is at this point, guys. Very, very silly stuff. Funny to see Sanderson sweeping for him in his class like this. I just enjoyed this and laughed at it when I watched the video and the like. And yeah, that's why we need a complete alternative to the mainstream publishing establishment. That's what we're building over here, my friends. So please join us. I hope you enjoyed the fantasy news. I hope that's not copyrighted to say fantasy news. Hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think Patrick Rothfuss is ever going to finish his book? I don't think. I would bet money on it not coming out, at least without a co-writer or a ghostwriter doing it. Please grab my For Steam and Country and actually get this whole series. You're going to love it, guys. Really appreciate you for supporting alternative fantasy. And we're going to build even more over the next coming years. I'm prolific, going to have some fun here. This is a good spot to be. If you miss the old days, what Brandon Sanderson used to be, I think you've landed in a good spot. before he went all woke and the like. And I'm very, very happy to have all of you here, have all of the readers. It's been a fun year so far, and let's make fantasy great again.